that I would be involved with an active shooter incident. I was actually involved with two right here in Cobb County. FedEx, which some of y'all may remember, I was actually present when that occurred, and then the Penske that occurred on McCollum Parkway by Kennesaw Airport. So 2 active shooter scenarios in Cobb County, and I was at both of them. A situation that I never thought I'd ever have to be involved with, and I was there. So it can happen. We have scares all the time. Just most recently over at Pebblebrook High School, we had a situation with a student with a gun. While it was not an active shooter or an active attack event, could it have turned into one? So we need to be prepared for those situations, and y'all need to be prepared as well. So we're going to talk about that tonight. The course that you guys are going to have this evening is called CRACE. It's Civilian Response to Active Shooter Events. This course was put on by Texas State University. So Texas State University has an active shooter training protocol that we in law enforcement is what we train by. That is the national standard for how we respond to active shooter events. Your law enforcement agencies, your fire departments, your emergency medical, they all fall under this Texas State University program. So that way, no matter where an event occurs, when it occurs, everybody that shows up is trained the exact same way, and that's important. For example, when I went inside FedEx, when I showed up right when the shooting occurred, I was put in a 5-man team with officers that weren't from my agency. I've never trained with these gentlemen. I've never seen half of these gentlemen, but when we went into that building, we knew exactly what we had to do because we all trained in the same discipline. This is the same company, the same organization that provided us our training that has now put together a civilian version of what you can expect and some things that you may see. So real quick about me, if the clicker may not work. Hold on, it worked a minute ago. Uh-oh, I think our clicker died, Ed. All right, we're gonna go to the old school. We're just gonna be pointing. How about that? All right, just a little bit about me. Again, my name is Lieutenant Brock Daniel. I've been with the Cobb County Sheriff's Office for 22 years. This is home for me. I was born in Cobb County. I was raised in Cobb County. My family's from Smyrna. I grew up in Kennesaw. This is home. I enjoy policing here. I don't want to be anywhere else, except for, as we discussed at dinner, when I retire, I want to be in Florida. That's my plan. So I love it here, but I'm ready to move on to something else. I did 10 years on the Cobb County Sheriff's Office SWAT team, where I ultimately retired from that as team leader. I enjoyed those 10 years, but when I had children and after a few incidences, it was time for me to raise my girls and stop worrying about the what if. So that was a lot of fun, but it was time to move on. I was the drone commander. Technology's real big in law enforcement now. Sheriff Owens brought in drones. I knew nothing about drones. He said, "Hey, Lieutenant Daniel, you're going to be the drone commander." I didn't know what I was doing, but I learned real quick. But we have now got a pretty robust drone program at the Sheriff's Office. I did fugitive apprehension for a couple years. That was an undercover capacity. So pretty much what I tell people is we kidnap people for a living. We would go out in plain clothes looking for the worst of the worst in the county, and we would just snatch them up and take them to jail. You're pretty much your 7 deadly sins. So I did that for a few years. Currently, I'm the assistant director of training at our academy. So I run all of the recruit training, all the training for our sworn personnel. They have to have so many hours a year. That is now where I'm stationed, and I'm also the range master. So I spend about 3 out of 5 days a week on the firing range, teaching weapons tactics, building clearing tactics, SWAT tactics. That's pretty much what I do with my day now. That's like my bread and butter. I've got 14 different instructor certifications, varying from firearms to defensive tactics to use of force to emergency medical. I try to spend as much time learning so I can put that back into our officers. The more things I can give to them, it actually helps you guys out when they respond. So that's what I do now with most of my career. And then recently I just got my FBI Academy certification. That was a lot of hard work. Took a few years to get it, but I'm real proud of that. My wife was real happy that's over. So I just finished that up. Ed, go ahead. All right, so we're going to talk about active attack events. Active attack events. Now, we can call them active shooters all we want to, but we're going to call them an active attack event because it's not always a shooting that we're talking about. Ed, I'm going to try the clicker one more time because it would be much easier if the clicker would work. Oh, it's working now. Perfect. All right, so definition, active attack event. Could also be considered attempted mass murder. An active attack event is one or two, that's all it takes, one or two or more individuals attempting to commit mass murder. They don't have to actually complete the act for it to be considered an active attack event. Whether one individual is unfortunately killed or 20, 30, or 40, it's still considered an active attack event if the intent was to inflict active mass murder. The attacker. A lot of people ask us, so what do we look for? You know, LT, what is it that we can what is it we can do to prepare? Unfortunately, there's no profile. The FBI has tried for years, tried to profile these attackers. What do we look for? What are the keys we can see? And honestly, there's not one, which was what makes it so difficult. That's what makes it so difficult to find out who these individuals are in our community. That a switch may flip in their head to where they would go do such an awful thing. A lot of times they'll have an anger mindset. Sometimes they'll broadcast their actions. But again, we just don't know. I mean, think about recently what you've seen in the news. I mean, not to talk about too much or to get on one side or the other, because I know we're in a very divisive state in our nation right now. But even with just the recent shooting that just occurred at a college university, the shooter was not what people, I think, expected, right? There was no profile. It just didn't make sense, right? You know, good education, good upbringing, everything seemed okay. Family didn't understand. Dad was a retired police officer. No profile, right? It happens. Some things, though, that contribute to this, some things that can contribute to these individuals, and some red flags you can be looking for. And again, I know it's a sensitive topic, but we've got to talk about it. That's why we're here, is in this area, in this community, in the congregation, we should always be aware. We should always be vigilant. Do we have individuals that maybe have a history of violence? Do we have individuals that have high exposure to violence? Exposure to violence can also lead to, unfortunately, PTSD, right? Substance abuse or substance dependence. Mental illness and a history of suicidality. I can't ever say that word, all right? But history of suicidal thoughts. These are just some red flags that the FBI has come out and said, these are some things you should be looking for. These should be clues that we should be checking on. The biggest thing is, folks, is if you see something, say something. And that's very hard to do. It is very hard to do because you don't want to be that person. You don't want to be that snitch, right? I don't want to say something, what if I'm wrong? What if you're wrong? But what if you were right and you didn't do anything? How many times do we see these instances happening in schools and churches, and people are like, yeah, you know, now come to think of it, he was really isolated. He did do these things. We did see these red flags, but we didn't say anything because we were afraid to single him out. Or what if we were wrong? But what would have been prevented if you'd have just checked on him? What would have been prevented if you just had a conversation? I'm not saying alienate the person even more. Maybe sometimes all they need is a conversation and love and just someone to talk to. Something to kind of steer that direction that they may be going down. And of course, my clicker stops right there. Hold on, Ed. I'm going to turn it off, turn it back on. I walk a lot when I teach in my classrooms. I hope y'all don't mind. Ed, go ahead and hit it for me, sir. All right, also some other risk factors that we may come in contact with. Stalking, harassing, or threatening behavior. Sometimes we'll see this in businesses, right? If it's somebody who may have been a fired employee, a disgruntled employee, negative family dynamics, support system, isolation or instability, and others are concerned. You will know. You're going to have that thought in your head, hey, I'm a little concerned about this. Do I speak up? I'm not really sure. Go ahead, Ed. So real quick, if this plays correctly, so this map starts, hold on, my eyes are getting worse the older I get. This is active attack data from 2000, and it's not to 2000. That was a typo on the system, but to 2024. Ed, if you hit play, it should start to change. As you can see, yellow is gun, red is knife, blue is vehicle. It should keep going. Did it stop, Ed? Yeah, it stopped. Nope, it's just thinking. It's all right. Don't worry about it, Ed. We're good. So location of attack. Where does this occur the most? Where does it occur the most? Believe it or not, it's not schools. That's the first place when you talk to folks. Well, schools, of course. It's not schools. That's not where it occurs the most. It's just that's what gets the most attention. It's the schools, right? Our children. Businesses is the most active spot that is attacked. The business. Why is that? Anybody know? Disgruntled employees. FedEx. FedEx was a disgruntled employee. Disgruntled employees and businesses is the number one place this occurs. Going postal, right? Outdoors. People don't understand sometimes that, yes, we can have active shooter events outdoors. That is a nightmare scenario for us. It's actually a whole different level of training we have to prepare for exterior active shooter events, because the world is their oyster. They could be anywhere. I would prefer them in a building because I'll find you. Outside, it's difficult. Where are they at? Where are they going? Where did they come from? After that is other, and then behind other is school. So schools is the most infrequent place that these occur. Still happen, but businesses is the number one place. Next slide. Here we have a little diagram that they provided, attacker connection. More often than not, there is no connection. 66% versus 34%. Yep, 66% no connection. Just a random event. Think about the CDC event. That was a random event. That individual had no connection to that facility. None. A lot of these shooters now with schools, especially with these small schools over elementary school, and it was an older individual, there was no connection. It was just what we call a soft target. This is a soft target. Somebody down the road could have a decision one day that they want to inflict damage, and they just come out of their door and start walking, and the first thing they see is this building. Churches are not a threat. Churches are welcoming. They're going to let me right in the front door. There's no one here to stop me. That's why it's a soft target. Schools. Now, I believe the reason the amount of schools are getting less and less is because it is very hard to get inside a school. I can't even get in my own child's school to get my kid in uniform. They won't let me in until I give them all the details of why I'm there, who I am. They still want to see my driver's license. I got my car parked out front. It's not an easy target anymore. It's very difficult. All right, sir. So we're going to talk about some things. I love this quote. Those who cannot remember the past are condemned to repeat it. We don't want to forget about history. We need to talk about it, because talking about things that have occurred makes us more aware of the future. Go ahead, sir. So we're going to start first with UC Santa Barbara, California. This was 2014. Next. All right, so the incident. We have an attacker that was attacked in Isla Vista, adjacent to the University of California, Santa Barbara. This individual killed 6 people, including a male student in a deli, 2 women outside of a sorority, and 3 victims were stabbed inside of his apartment. Approximately 14 others were injured by gunfire, stabbing, or vehicle ramming. So this individual used all the opportunities he had to inflict mass casualty. Again, not active shooter, but active attack. Active attack. All right, next. A lot of y'all may remember this one, Pulse nightclub in Orlando. All right, 2016. Go ahead. This was a mass shooting at an LGBTQ-friendly nightclub during Latin night. 49 people were killed. 49 people. But what's crazy, folks, is outside of me showing you that slide just now, how many of you forgot about that? Right? 49 people lost their lives that night, just out trying to have a good time. It was the deadliest mass shooting in U.S. history at that time. 53 other people were wounded. 49 killed, 53 wounded. The attacker fired over 200 rounds in less than 5 minutes, and it was killed after a standoff. He actually backed himself into a bathroom, took several people hostage, and then ultimately law enforcement breached with explosives and took the shooter down. We don't talk about it much in this slide. I'll go ahead and give you a little bit of this on the side. But we have a thing in law enforcement called push or hold. Active shooter events, active killing is occurring, we're going to push. We're going to push and push and push until we can stop the killing. But the moment that the killing stops and hostages are taken, we don't push anymore, we hold. Because the killing has stopped. When the shooter is communicating, we are communicating. The worst thing you can do is poke a caged rat. What do you think is going to happen? He's going to make it worse, right? So that's what happened here. Law enforcement was criticized. There was no need for the criticism because they were upset. Well, why aren't you doing anything? They were doing something. The killing had stopped. He was not killing anybody else. He was talking and communicating. Now, once those communications started to deteriorate and the trained officers on site realized, hey, this is not going well, it's about to start again, then they had to make the decision it was time to breach and take the shooter out, which is what they did. No more killing occurred after that. Next. Las Vegas, Nevada. Terrible. Exterior, right? Very difficult. How many of you have been to Las Vegas? I just went to Las Vegas for the first time 2 years ago, and I got to see this area firsthand, and I was just baffled at what my colleagues in Las Vegas had to deal with when this occurred. This is a nightmare. Absolute nightmare scenario. Go ahead. The attacker opened fire from a hotel room at the Mandalay Bay onto a concert crowd. This was a very long distance away, folks. He was not right over the field. Mandalay Bay, if you've ever seen it, he was way up top of the high floor, across the street, shooting extremely long distance with high-powered rifles. 60 individuals are killed, 58 initially. The death toll later went up to 60. 2 survivors succumbed to their injuries in subsequent years. Approximately 867 people were wounded, 431 by gunfire or shrapnel. One individual in an elevated position in a room shot over 413 plus individuals and caused over 167 injuries and 60 deaths. And we're going to talk about some ways we can curb this as we get later on in the presentation when we start talking about stopping the bleed. Next. New York City, New York, 2017. Go ahead. We have an attacker that drove a rented truck into a crowded bike path. 8 individuals were killed, 11 were wounded. No firearm, no knife. A truck did a lot of damage. Sometimes these events, I don't want to say are overlooked. They don't get the attention that other events get. When they do get the attention, they're fast, but they're equally as important to understand the risk. This is actually one of the bigger risks that we see in our community now when we have all these events. Think about fall festivals, spring flings, events out here in your parking lot. If you've ever been up to the Marietta Square for any event, my colleagues that work for the city of Marietta, they do a fantastic job. Has anybody been up to the Marietta Square recently for an event? Have you noticed at the intersections what they do at the intersections now? What do? Big barricades. You know what they barricade them with? Big buses. Marietta has purchased large buses, outfitted them in such a way to exceed the weight limit of those buses, and what looks just like a very non-threatening painted school bus with the city of Marietta serves a very good purpose to prevent somebody from driving through the square and ramming and killing a lot of people. They're prepared. They're training just in case something occurs. I believe so, yes, ma'am. I believe that because it doesn't involve a weapon, because it involves a vehicle, it's just not something that, and I hate to say it, it's not newsworthy to any network. It gets the attention. We hear about it, but within days, we don't hear about it anymore. But when we have a shooting or a stabbing, we'll hear about it and hear about it and hear about it, right? Because it just doesn't fit the mold. But these are very, very important events that occur as well. Next, please. Sutherland Springs, Texas. A gunman attacked the First Baptist Church in a rural community. He killed 26 people, plus an unborn child. 22 people were wounded. Think about that. That's just a small, old, wooden church. What are we standing in? Right? People on Sunday morning coming in having church. Gunman comes in the back door, just like the setup we have right here, and starts firing on people immediately without warning. He is ultimately confronted outside the church by a neighbor across the street who heard the gunfire, confronted the shooter, ended up getting in a shootout, and he ends up going down the road, drives down the road, gets another shootout with law enforcement, and ultimately succumbs to his injuries, but not before killing 26 people inside that little church. Next. All right, number of deaths. Go ahead and click for me. We may go past some, so I don't have my clicker. All right, that's good right there. Oh, go back. All right, number of deaths. So what determines the number of deaths, the number of fatalities? So it's how quickly we arrive and target availability. How quickly officers can get on scene and target availability. Shooters now, unfortunately, are looking for A, the soft target, and maximum damage. Soft and maximum damage. You can go to the next slide now. Click one more time, let's see what it does. Nope, go back, I lied. 3 minutes. 3 minutes is the average response time for a law enforcement officer to the scene of an active shooter event. 3 minutes is actually extremely fast. That's quick, right? I would be willing to bet here it'd be faster. Cobb County, while a big county, we have a plethora of law enforcement. Between the police department, the sheriff's office, Smyrna PD, it doesn't matter. One of the most amazing sights I ever saw when FedEx was over and we got done clearing that structure and we found the shooter, it took hours to clear that facility. If you've ever seen that FedEx building down there by the airport, it's massive. It took a long time to clear that building. When I came outside for the first time after being inside for hours, I saw police cars from Georgia Tech PD, Georgia State Patrol, Georgia Capitol Police, LJ Police Department. It didn't matter. Anybody that had access to the interstate showed up to that scene. That's what's going to happen. Everybody's coming, and everybody's coming quick. But here's the point. Here's the problem. Everything between the first second and those 3 minutes belong to you. What happens those first 3 minutes belongs to everybody in this room. What are you going to do for those 3 minutes? And that's what we're going to talk about as this goes on. What are you going to do to own those 3 minutes? There's only so much we can do until we get here. But up until that point, you've got to make a decision. All right, next. So we're going to talk about disaster response, the background science of how people behave in high-stress events. What happens when stressful events occur? Go ahead, Ed. All right, there's 3 stages of a disaster response. What's going to happen? What's going to happen to you when these things occur? Go ahead. First thing you're going to do is you're going to deny. I didn't see what I just saw. I didn't hear what I just heard. The most common thing we hear when they record these individuals on the news and they talk about these active shooter scenes, the first thing they said was, I heard fireworks. How common is it to hear fireworks at your place of business? It's not. But why do we go there automatically? It's safe, right? We deny. There's no way that could be anything else. Yes, I've been working at this building for 20 years. It's a nice office building. I've never heard fireworks in 20 years. But why do we say, oh, that must be fireworks? It makes no sense. We deny what we're hearing. We deny what we're seeing. Deliberation. I've seen it. Hopefully I've accepted it. Now I need to decide what's next. What is my next move? Go ahead. And then you need to make a decisive movement. All right? So this is a little cartoon they put up. Denial is the first stage of no, it isn't. They don't want to talk about it. So why do we deny? There's normalcy bias. Our brain is lazy. Our brain's lazy. It wants existing plans. We don't like change. We don't like things outside of our normal. It doesn't make any sense. And then we have social cues. We are social people. We look to others. What's everybody else doing? All right. So, like I said, I grew up here in Cobb. I live over on the west side of the county, over off Dallas Highway. And I don't know if some of you guys remember several years back, there was a shooting actually in the parking lot of that Kroger on Dallas Highway. A woman gunned down her husband right at the front door. It was in the news. It didn't stay in the news very long, but my wife was about from me to the front door of the shooting when it occurred. My wife has been married to a cop for 22 years, so she was just kind of like, well, that's bad. You know, it didn't really faze her like it would everybody else. But she said what really was really crazy, babe, was this occurred. She chased him down with the vehicle from the Moe's, which was over here to the left, for a good 1/8 of a mile as he was running and screaming for help. She chases him down to the front of the Kroger, gets out of the car, shoots him. He falls, stands over him and shoots him again. And she said the whole time, everybody in the parking lot that was loading their groceries was just standing there and watching and frozen. Then they were looking at each other because they were looking at each other. Well, they're not running, so do I run? They're not doing anything. Should I do anything? It was what do we do with our hands? Our brain wasn't accepting what we were seeing. Is it normal? No, that's not normal. That's not something normal that you should see every day. The gunshots is not normal. Then looking around and seeing the actions of everybody else is a social cue that, well, if they're doing something, then I should be doing the same thing. Right? Next. This is a fantastic video. I don't know how well the sound will be. Just watch. It speaks for itself. Oh. Let's find some sound, hopefully.
unexpectedly, you might think that surrounded by all these people, someone would intervene. After all, isn't there safety in numbers? Psychologists say no. Research suggests that often a victim is less likely to receive assistance when surrounded by a group rather than a single bystander. When people are in a crowd, it's easier to pass the buck. It's what psychologists call the diffusion of responsibility. Liverpool Street Station in London, a busy thoroughfare for commuters. Unknown to these passers-by, Peter is an actor. As part of an experiment on bystander apathy, he's pretending to be ill.
Help. Help.
How long before he gets help?
Please, help. Help me. Please help me.
Helping would be inconvenient or even risky. He lies there for more than 20 minutes and no one raises an eyebrow.
Please, somebody help me.
It's always very distressing to watch situations like this where people are obviously suffering and no one's actually helping them. But what we have here is two conflicting rules. One is the rule we ought to help, and the other is the rule that we ought to do what everybody else is doing. And here you have effectively a group of strangers who are exerting the pressure not to intervene, not to help, and it's very difficult to rebel.
Ruth, another actor, takes Peter's place. How long before she receives help? Minutes later, and 34 people have passed without stopping.
Or people don't really want to know. They just haven't got the time. Well, they have got the time, they just don't want to get involved.
Unwittingly, these strangers have silently formed a temporary group with a rule: don't get involved. They're afraid to stand out from the crowd and won't take action if no one else does. This woman has clearly spotted Ruth, but she conforms to the rule and does nothing. Watch what happens, though, when someone else helps.
You alright? You alright?
Yes, thank you.
Sure, you look a bit clingy, you know what I mean?
She suddenly finds herself in a different group with a new rule: to help.
Do you want to sit up? You alright, yeah? What's wrong?
First I thought she was dead. Then I saw to check to see if she was breathing or not. And I looked around and I couldn't believe that no one had noticed her because there was a bloke sat there just absorbed in reading a newspaper.
This time, Peter's dressed as a respectable gentleman. Now that his dress is in keeping with those around him, how long before he's rescued?
Hello, sir. How are you today?
I'm alright.
6 seconds. She even calls him sir, and suddenly everyone's a good Samaritan.
Do you suffer from epilepsy?
No.
Why you're lying on the floor in the rain?
Because he's part of the right group. Everyone wants to help.
I would just hate to be in his position of feeling ill and nobody helping him walking past, so I'd just like to check that he was okay.
You're good, Ed.
It's wet, so he must really be ill because he's going to ruin the suit anyway.
So that's denial at its finest, right?
Plays like this street.
It's an amazing experiment that they did. I use this a lot in different classes. It's a great video. So then we have, after denial, we have deliberation. What do I do about what I've seen? All right? All right, so this is interesting. Go ahead and click twice for me, sir. 2 more times. Right there, I'm sorry, stay right there. All right, so we have the human brain and what scientists call the lizard brain. All right, I'm going to look this way because I cannot read that far away. All right, so the human brain, this is our reflective thinking brain. It's flexible, it's rational, it's slow, and you have to think about it. Then we have that primitive brain that kicks in. Our instincts, our animal instincts kick in. It's reflexive, it reacts, it's fixed, it's emotional, it's fast, and it just happens. It just happens without explanation. This is why in law enforcement, when I train my officers versus training my SWAT team members, all right, our SWAT team members are highly trained individuals that we're going to send into a very hot scene. We expect them to know everything, right, and to fix every problem. The reason that is because they train. When I was on the team, we trained and trained and trained for thousands and thousands of hours. We do that to create muscle memory. Because when you're stressed, when you're going through something and your heart rate goes up, we'll show that chart in a minute, all of those little fine motor skills deteriorate. And you're going to go back to the lowest level of training that you ever experienced. Yep, And when that happens, you're going to do one of three things. You're going to fight, you're going to flight, or you're going to freeze. Go ahead and click for me, Ed. One of those three things is going to happen to you. And it's not just an active shooting event. I see this all the time. Think about when you're out in public and you witness somebody in a fight, just an altercation that occurs. Or maybe a husband and wife in the parking lot in a pretty heated argument that may be a type of domestic. Inside, you've experienced some type of emotion. Your adrenaline gets going. It's uncomfortable. You're not used to seeing these things. So what am I doing? Am I going to run away? Am I going to freeze? Am I going to intervene? You don't know what you're going to do until you get involved in one of these scenarios. Unfortunately, that's just something that's going to happen. With us, we can't fight and we can't freeze. We have to fight back in this profession, which is why we train constantly to overcome the other two options. So these things don't occur. Go ahead and click for me. So here's our stress response. Here's your heart rate. 60, 90, 120, 150, and then 175, which is condition black. Click again for me. All right, so when you're at white, this is our normal resting heart rate, hopefully you're around there. If you're in the red at resting, we probably have some problems. But white is our normal resting heart rate. This is, I'm at home, I'm watching TV, reading a magazine. Condition yellow, this is when our fine motor skills start to deteriorate. Condition red, complex motor skills deteriorate. I can't read that far, I'm going to go this way. But peak physical performance is a gross motor. You are stronger, faster, and will bleed less at red. Red is perfect. Red is right where I want to be when I'm fighting. Red is right where I want to be when I'm in a shootout because I'm focused, I'm thinking clearly, and if for some reason I do take any rounds, my body is healing itself or trying to save itself, I'm also engaged in what I need to engage in. When you get to gray, cognitive processing begins to deteriorate, tunnel vision, auditory exclusion, and time dilation. And then condition black, you are completely overloaded. You have frozen, voiding of bowels and bladder. I have no idea what I'm seeing. I've never experienced anything like this in my life. I do not know what to do with my hands. That's condition black, right? Condition gray, the term auditory exclusion. If you've ever, unfortunately, you don't have to raise your hand, but you know who you are. If you've ever been around an unfortunate incident where maybe there was gunfire involved, you may or may not have heard the gunshots like you would have if you were at the range. If you're at a range and you're shooting a handgun and you forget to put your ear protection on, it's very loud, your ears ring, you kind of go deaf for a second. But officers, military, or somebody that has had to use their firearm in a life or death situation will tell you they didn't even hear the gun go off. Because what happens is when your heart rate goes up and your adrenaline goes up and all those hormones and all that stuff's dumping into your body, it shuts off the sound of your ears. So you don't hear anything. All right, next slide. All right, I want you, don't click it yet. This is a video. I want to show you stress response. So my females in the room, if you had any kids, and back when they were real little and you had them in the stroller, putting them in and out of that stroller 4,000 times a day, you could do it with your eyes closed, right? You know what buckle to click, you know how to get them out, right? So here is a department or a gas station or some type of food store. This is single footage. There's nothing bad in this video, but somebody comes in and starts shooting, and watch this mom try to get her kid out of the stroller. Go ahead. That mom has probably taken that kid out of that stroller 5,000 times. But what did she forget to do? Unbuckle it. She was trying to snatch her kid out of the stroller, and the kid was still buckled in. Several times, 2 or 3 times, she tried to pull that kid out of their stroller until she realized, wait a minute, I'm doing something wrong. I need to fix it. Think about how many times you've had to get out of your car quickly because you're stressed out and you forgot to unbuckle your seatbelt. Why can't I get out of the car? Oh, yeah. I need to unbuckle this thing first, right? All right, so this is an image. This was a nightclub where there was a fire where multiple people lost their lives. So I'm going to show you the diagram right here. So on the video, if you can see this picture, there are 4 red circles labeled 1, 2, 3, and 4. Number 1, can you put your cursor on number 1? Number 1, where he's putting the cursor, that's the main entrance. This is where everybody arrived this day to this concert venue to watch this band play. The band was playing up here on the right side of the stage. where the yellow arrows are. Everybody was in the main room watching the concert take place. Go ahead and click the next slide. So everybody, this is the Station nightclub. Watch this video. We're at 20 seconds in the video, and everybody starts to realize we have a problem. Does everybody see the problem? There's a big fire, right? We are 30 seconds into the video. Mass panic has started. One minute into the video, the whole building is overcome with smoke. Go ahead and click the next slide for me. Deliberation. At first, there was denial. The fire goes off. Obviously, we have a problem. The stage is caught on fire. About 30 seconds into the fire, some people in the back start to realize that's not normal and start kind of turning around and making their way to the door. Roughly a minute into it, people start to realize, okay, we've got a problem. It took some people 60 seconds to deliberate or to denial what they were seeing. There's a fire. I'm inside of a closed building. I probably need to do something. Then the deliberation. So here's the problem. If you look at the photo, this is where they found the bodies of all the people that were killed. 31 people were killed at the entrance. Why? Yeah, why right there, though? They followed each other, and that was the only place that they knew. That's how I got in this building. That must be the only way to get out. There was no deliberation. There was no thinking. There was no using their human brain. They went to their lizard brain, and they just started to run. Everything shut down. Panic set in, and they didn't use their human brain and realize that there were 4 other exits in this structure. If you look at the stage exit to the right, nobody died there. Nobody even went for that exit. All right? Look at the other 2 exits on the far left. Nobody died there. You know why? Because the ones that went there got out. Everybody mostly tried to go to the front door, and the rest just hid in corners and froze. Look at the amount of bodies that were located near the kitchen and the offices, near the game tables, that just stood there and accepted their fate. You have to make a decision. You have to deliberate. Okay, next. Sir? So we'll talk about that in a second. We'll talk about scripting in a minute. We'll get to that, absolutely. That's just a photo of that was a photo, the last photo of the front entrance. That was the front entrance of everybody trying to get out. Deliberation. Calm yourself. Breathe. I teach my 9-year-old daughter and my 14-year-old daughter this, and they use it every single day. It's called combat breathing. It is one of the most effective things that you can do as a human being to keep yourself calm. Whether you've been in a car wreck, whether or not you're sitting in traffic and you're stressed out because you want to get home, you're going to be late for practice, whatever it is, I use combat breathing probably 50 times a day. You breathe in for 4 seconds, you hold it for 4 seconds, and then you let it out for 4 seconds. And you do that over and over again until your heart rate slows down and you're thinking clearly. It works. My oldest daughter, she's 14, she has Down syndrome, she has special needs, and I have to use this on her all the time. When she calls me freaking out from school, I'm like, hey, stop talking and breathe. Breathe in with daddy, hold with daddy, let out with daddy. We do that 2 or 3 times, and she goes, whew, I'm better now. I'm like, see? Breathe. That is easy. We forget to do it. Breathe. Shift your emotions. All right? So getting away from a fire, an active attack event, shift your emotions. We can't be afraid. I'm going to be angry. Be upset. Right? Stay fit. That is extremely important. Do something every day. I preach this to my guys at work. Do something every day. Walking. Just go walk every day. If you can do more than walk, run. If you can do more than that, go to the gym. I love that I was seeing people walk in the back door or eating with their mats coming to do their jazzercise. I think it's awesome that y'all offer that. Do something every day, because when your heart rate goes up, a lot of casualties that we'll have at some events are just from heart attack. It's a stressful situation. The heart rate goes up to 180 beats per minute. Your heart's not used to beating that fast, and then heart attacks can happen. Do something to increase your heart rate every day on your terms. Don't wait for somebody else to do it for you. Do it on your terms. Train your body to get used to that. Next. All right, so to your question, scripting. I believe in scripting. My wife doesn't call it this, but a lot of people that don't know me, they just say I'm paranoid. I'm not paranoid, I'm prepared. That's why law enforcement officers, a lot of times, they won't sit with their back to a door. When I go to a restaurant, I will purposefully make my wife sit on the other side of the table. If they seat me at a table in a restaurant that I'm not comfortable with, I will make them move me. I'm not trying to be rude, but I'm prepared. I don't like sitting in booths because I can't get out of a booth very quickly because I'm a big guy. It's hard to get out, and I don't want to get in a gunfight in a booth. I want to get out of the booth, right? I script. I plan. When I go to a movie, when I come here talking to y'all, I've scripted. Okay, I know where the exits are. I know I can go out that door. I know there's a side door right there, and I can go that way to go back to the kitchen where I just came from and go back out to that side parking lot. I know my truck is over here, and I know what gear's in my truck to fight back if I need to come back in this building and start doing my thing. I script. I plan constantly. When I go to the movie theater, it's like a habit now. Okay, this is my seat, exit, exit. I came in that way, car's over there. This is the side of the building I'm on. Great, I'm good. I do it everywhere I go. Because when you script it, and you think about it, and you practice it, you will perform that way. Now, no, I can't practice running out of the theater and running to my truck and scaring the crap out of everybody. I can't do that. But mental reps are just as good as physical reps. It's just like mental reps on traffic stops. All the years I used to work the road. All right, when I pull this car over, if I get out of my car and he starts shooting at me from all the way over there, what am I going to do? All right, where am I going to go? You're planning. All right, there's a big tree over there. There's a big rock over there. Always looking for the next step. What's next? So script. I know it's sad that we have to do that. It really is. But if you're sitting in these pews on Sunday morning and you come in here for church and you sit down, think to myself, okay, I can't see the back door. We can't just turn the sanctuary to have church facing that way. But if I hear a gunshot in this building, what am I going to do? Unfortunately, a lot of people are going to drop right there on the floor. Why would you do that? Will these pews stop bullets? No. You just become a sitting target for this individual to continue to the front of this church and do what they want to do. All right, I'm sitting here. It's quicker to go that way or that way. I'm going to go to one of those doors. Where does that door lead? Which way am I going to go to get out of this building? That's what should be going through your head. If you're in the back pew and somebody comes in, think to yourself, okay, I'm in the back. If he comes in, running is probably not practical for me. I'm going to jump on him. Script in your head. I'm going to jump on his back. I may go, but I'm going to get a lot of my fellow church members out of this building while I'm on his back. Be thinking what my next step is, right? Next. All right, Rick Rescorla, really cool guy. You can click the next picture. It's going to be very hard to read, so I'll just tell you about this individual right here. So Rick was a security kind of specialist he was the vice president of corporate security and for the Dean Ryder Morgan Stanley Company when the very first bombing at the World Trade Center occurred. So Rick was known to be a very prepared individual. He annoyed everybody in the office. People would be working, doing their thing, and he would just jump up and be like, building's on fire, what are you going to do? And he wouldn't do the whole, just tell me. He would make them do it. He'd make them get up, do all their things, leave the building. He would do this stuff weekly. He would do this stuff daily. Someone's attacking the building. What are you going to do? He was not well liked amongst his staff in the building, but he did this on purpose daily after day after day. Very first incident the World Trade Center happened, And he was like, see, this is what we prepared for, guys. This is why we did what we did. So fast forward, September 11th, still working for the same office. After the first bombing, he upped his game. Rick started putting on all-out drills. Again, as time went on, unfortunately, like it does now, people started to forget. Getting mad at Rick. Here goes Rick again. He's crazy. Making us do these terrorist drills. Nothing's ever going to happen. Sure enough, plane hits the World Trade Center, and Rick saved every single person in his office. Every single individual that worked for that office escaped that building that day because Rick practiced and prepared with them every week, annoyed them to death, but saved everybody's life because he scripted and practiced every day about what are we going to do. Next slide. You can go ahead and play that.
A little less than a month ago, 3 childhood friends were on a train bound for Paris when they heard a gunshot. Amid screams and commotion of the passengers, they quickly focused on a man wielding an AK-47. Almost instantly, one of them said, "Let's go," and the 3 ran toward the shooter. Those 3 friends are with us here today. Thank you, Alec, Spencer, and Anthony, for what you did on that train and for joining us here. And that's because after Alec said, "Let's go," he and Spencer and Anthony sprinted toward the gunman while he trained his rifle on him. Spencer tackled the assailant, and the 3 worked to disarm him. As we know, Spencer was stabbed in that effort. After they knocked out the gunman, they tended to other injured on board before paramedics and police arrived.
Decisive movement, making a decision. Gunshot, screams, I'm on a train that doesn't belong. We're not denying what it is. We need to do something. We need to do something now. So 3 friends charged the gunman. What's probably going to happen? Someone's going to get hurt, but at the end of the day, they didn't care. They were trying to save everybody else on board. Civilian response. Don't deny. If you hear gunshots, go immediately to deliberation. It is not normal to be sitting here on a Sunday morning and hear a firecracker go off. It makes no sense. I'm not saying it couldn't happen. I'm not saying some kids couldn't be playing in the parking lot, right? But I'd rather you be safe than sorry. It is not normal to be sitting here on a Sunday morning and hear a loud firecracker go off. That sound does not belong. Something is not right. We need to do something. Next. All right, so we're going to talk about playing dead. I hear this a lot. Well, I know what I'll do. I don't want to fight, flight, or freeze, so I'll just play dead. Go ahead.
We heard the first shots around 9:40 a.m. I was sitting on the wall of the classroom, so in the hallway, and I could hear the shots getting closer and closer very quickly. I mean, there was only a few seconds between the first time we heard them and when he actually walked in. To me, it sounded like an axe being taken to a piece of wood. And our teacher, she opened the door, and she peered outside, and she immediately shut the door, and she said, "Call 911." And right then, he walked in just seconds after. There's absolutely no time to think or to duck or to take cover, and people just kind of fell to the floor. And he immediately walked in shooting, and he went to the other side of the classroom, and he started going down the rows. He went down each row very quickly, very purposefully. And I remember thinking, your turn is coming. You're going to get shot. I mean, I didn't realize there was an active shooter, but I knew something bad was happening. He came back to our classroom 3 times, and on the 3rd time, he killed himself in the front of the class. In between each time he was there, you could just hear people crying and coughing, and the cell phone started ringing. When he was in our class, I remember trying not to breathe very much, so he couldn't tell I was alive. Because as my stomach was hitting the chair, I was thinking, he can see me breathing, he can see me alive, and that was very scary. I'll never forget when the SWAT team first broke in at around 9:51. The officer in the front of the classroom said, "We have a lot of blacks in here." And at the time, I couldn't comprehend what he was talking about, but he meant triage codes. And I remember looking into the girl to my right and realizing, what black meant. He looked over me and he said, "First shot 3 times, lying on my back, and I remember thinking, what do you see? Like, what can you see on me that I can't, that you would change me from yellow to red? He killed 12 people in my classroom, including our teacher.
So she played dead. He came in the class, she went to the ground, and then he walked up to her and shot her. Excuse me, the first time he shot her, then she went down and played dead. Then when he came back in the room, she was just laying there instead of trying to better her situation, and shot her 2 more times in the back amongst the other children in the room that were playing dead. So playing dead is not something that you want to do. You still need to get out. You still need to overcome the pain, overcome whatever it is that's happened to your body, and get out of the structure as quick as possible. Go ahead, next slide. Hiding and hoping also is not a good tactic. All right? Hiding and hoping does not work. Hiding is only successful if we can do things that stop bullets, and there's not much inside of a structure that can stop bullets. So be careful how we hide. That's why I said if somebody came in this building right now and started firing, a lot of the congregation would drop down here to hide behind the pews. That pew's not going to do anything. It's just concealment. That's not cover. Concealment just hides your outline. Cover stops bullets. That's not going to help you, so don't rely on it. Next. Deliberation, go ahead. Avoid, number 1. If you can run, run. If you have the ability, get out. Number 2, deny. Right? Hide. We say deny because, especially for schools, do something to barricade the door. We'll show you a diagram in a minute of how that actually helps. Deny entry and hide, which is why your children are taught code red. Barricade the door, lock the door, turn off the lights, get away from the window, and don't move. That's the deny and hide portion. And then ultimately, if you cannot do any of the above 2, you got to step up. It's time to fight. It's time to do something. Look around your surroundings. Look around you right now in this room. If you had to fight back right now, what do you have? It might be it. What do you have? I do this a lot with businesses. As a matter of fact, I'll do it sometimes. I'll say, okay, I'm going to do a clock. I'm going to give you 2 minutes. I'm going to make you get up and go find something. And I go, ready, go. And they're running around the room. I'm like, all right, bring me your weapons. What did you get? What did you find? You may have to do that. That may be your only option. Fire extinguishers, books, chairs, anything. Overwhelm the shooter. Don't make it a one-on-one fight. Overwhelm the shooter. If 20 of you jump on him, you will win. He will not win 20 to 1, even with a gun. There's only so much he can do. Overwhelm the shooter and win. Commit and win. Next. All right, before he plays this video, this video baffles me. This is from Florida. This is Panama City Beach, Florida, at a city council meeting. I want y'all to watch this, and we're going to talk about this. This is amazing. Go ahead. Go ahead and pause it for me, Ed. So, city council meeting, disgruntled community member says, I have a motion, walks up, starts spray painting the wall. Is that normal? No. The FBI calls that a clue. It might be time to get out. All right. Then he pulls out a gun. And what does everybody first initially do? Well, the very first thing they do is nothing. He pulls out a gun and says, everybody in this room, and then everybody's just going. Yep, several ladies got their purse, they got their coats, slowly stood up. One lady was crawling on her hands and knees very slowly down the aisle, Nobody was running and avoiding that to save their life. It's not normal. That was the human condition of this isn't normal. You would think somebody doing that would cause mass panic, and it didn't. It was very routine. Like, oh, he has a gun. Let me get my purse. Y'all have a good night. I'm just going to walk out the door. That's what happened. Next. Leave ASAP, know your exits, and call 911. All right, next. I'm going to speed up just a little bit. Next slide for me. I wanted to see this part here. All right, so I want y'all to see something. So the video that just played, the reason I went through it is because I can lead into it just talking about it. An individual walks inside of a bakery in New York. He was an anti-Palestinian protester, went in, killed several people inside this grocery store. And these are some individuals that worked there. If you could see in the top right corner, there are two individuals hiding in the corner, just kind of hunched down in the back of the business. Now, consider secondary exits. Notice the two people curled up in the floor. What else do you notice? There's a ladder. What else is there? There's two doors. What have they done? They froze. They froze. Next. Look at there. Look at there. Now, deny. Lock the door. Lights out. Hide. Right? We'll talk about that at the end if there's any questions, if like with suggestions, but like Sunday school classrooms, teaching your Sunday school teachers with your children during the service. If something occurs in here, if they can't get out, barricade the door, turn off the lights, and hide. All right? Shooters, when they go through these incidences, they are going quick. They are not taking their time. They are going fast. We call that time on target. They are trying to inflict mass casualty as fast as possible because they know we're coming, and 99.999% of the time, they don't want conflict. They don't want conflict with us, which is why so many of them end up committing suicide, is because they're actually afraid of conflict. They do what they do because it's easy for them and nobody fights back. When people fight back, they don't know what to do in turn. So what happens is when they go to a door that's locked, they move to the next door. They won't stay on a door and try to make entry into that classroom. They're going to go to the next classroom. They're going to find one that's open because they know within a matter of minutes we're about to confront them. So they need to go as fast as possible. So that's why it's very important. Barricade doors. Lock doors, turn off the lights, get out of sight, and be quiet. Because they're going to just move down the hall waiting for us to arrive before they give up. Next. Barricade, heavier is the better, more the better. Door stops are a fantastic tool. Just those little bitty rubber door stops, that's a great tool. Shut the door, wedge that door stop in the door, kick it in there real nice and tight, and then throw some stuff behind the door to give a little bit of a barricade, and then he'll move on to the next target. All right? Next. Hide. All right? So if these doors don't exist and the ladder doesn't exist, we're now curled up in a corner. How effective are we being right now? If he starts walking around the business looking for you, you're not hiding. Click the slide for me. We have some type of bin here, plastic bin with some type of cover. If that's all you have, use it. Is it ideal? No. But if you've backed yourself into a corner and there's nowhere else to go, and that's the best thing you have to hide in, then give it your best shot. If it's not there, be ready to fight and fight for your life. These are the simple door stops I'm talking about. They're very simple. They're very easy. Go ahead and show the next slide. There should be some outward openings, ropes, tension sleeves. Any doors that open to the outside, you can simply tie them shut with anything. A good leather belt, a necktie, something of that nature. A lot of these are popping up in schools now. It's a little device that you can get online, slide down to the base of the kick stop of the door into the metal door frame. That right there will actually prevent entry for most SWAT teams. That little device right there is extremely tough to defeat. It can be defeated eventually, but it's going to take some time. Click through this one for me. This one, just click to the next slide.
All day.
All right, now we're going to get to fighting. All else has failed. There's nowhere to run. There's nowhere to hide. We now have to fight back. You have to fight back for your loved ones. You have to fight back for your church members. You have to fight back for your community. You have to win the fight at all costs. Positioning. if we have an incident where there's a shooter in the building somewhere and he is coming this way, and we know the entry point is going to be this door, and those that cannot get out have decided it's time to fight, how do we position ourselves on this door to attack the shooter? Do we position ourselves on this door by waiting for him down there? No. Or do I position myself with my back up here to the column so he doesn't see me when he first steps through the door? Right? First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to try to position myself as tight as I can to that door frame so he'll step through the door frame and I'm already on his back. And then, like she said she's going to hit him over the head with that cross. I said, that's what I got. I'm going to take that, whack him right on the head with it. Position yourself. It's all about position. How can I better my position to win the fight? Get enough people to get in a good position. One thing that we teach in law enforcement when we're clearing structures with our firearms, whether it be our pistol or our rifle, when we enter a doorway, we pull our gun in. That way when I step through the doorway, then I'll punch my gun back out. I do that because I don't want the suspect grabbing my gun. Well, most of these shooters are not trained. A lot of them play too many video games, and they have no idea what real life is like. And the first thing they're going to do is come to the door like this. That is fantastic. Let me have it. It's mine now. I'm going to reach up there and I'm going to grab it. I'm going to grab that gun. I'm going to hold on to it with dear life while the rest of my friends and family or whatever jump on his back. And I'm going to beat him to death with it until the cops get there. All right? Fight. Shift your motions. Move around. Make it difficult. It is extremely difficult, folks, even for trained officers. I work on the range. I teach people to shoot almost every day. Shooting a moving target is not easy, even for trained law enforcement. It is not easy shooting a moving target. Shift your motions, better your position, take down the shooter. Next. I love this video. This individual right here, go ahead and play it for me. There's no sound. I'll talk through it. Somebody comes in to rob the store. He's trying to make a decision. He's like, yeah, I'm going to grab this bottle right here and I'm going to beat him over the head with it. But he's deliberating. He decides at some point that's probably not the best call. Then look at our man back here in the back. Look what she does. She just lays down and plays dead. I'm not really sure why she plays dead because no gunshots were ever fired. They came in the store to rob the store, and she thought the best course of action was just to lay down in the aisle. That's that whole fight, flight, or freeze. She froze. My man with the champagne bottle said, I'm not doing this. I'm about to hit you over the head with this bottle. His lizard brain kicked in, right? This thing that he's probably never had to experience before. Maybe he did. Maybe he's former military. I don't know. But something kicked in his head where he got angry and said, not today. I'm fighting back. Right? Lieutenant Brian Murphy, he stopped an active shooter. He said, I'm not going to go out in a parking lot. I'm not going to go out like this. I'm not going to let my wife down. I'm not going to let my daughter down. And I'm not going to let my stepkids down. He ended up taking multiple rounds to the head, neck, and face. Ended up surviving and taking out the shooter. Again, guys, your surroundings, avoid, deny, defend, run, hide, fight. Avoid, deny, defend, or run, hide, and fight. Go ahead, Ed. That might be, what you do matters, okay? Next, I know where we're at now. All right, so the attack starts. Click it. This is a series. First thing, primary exits. If I have a primary exit, follow it. If I don't have a primary exit, deny entry. Are there other exits after I denied entry? If yes, find your way out. If there's no other exits, it's time to fight. It's time to defend. Next. Virginia Tech. This is Norris Hall. This is where the shooter entered. Those doors right there, he actually went inside the door and chained the door shut. Right? He went inside and chained the door shut. He went down this hall right here on the second floor. This is the only hall that he went on. All right, this will be a series, Ed, so we'll do one click at a time. So go ahead and do click one time for me. This is the first room he entered. Everybody in red was killed. Everybody in yellow was shot, and the green survived. Room 207, where he went next. 211. Third room. Now stop right here. 204. 204 realized something was going on and avoided. Broke a window and started evacuating the students out the window. The red person at the door was the teacher who was shot and killed while the students were going out the window. And do it again, right there. Everyone in that room survived. You know why? They denied entry. They barricaded the door. They turned off the lights. They hid out of sight. Room 205, nobody was shot or killed. Room 204, where they avoided, was the least, and then the most was 211, the second classroom he entered. You know why the second classroom? Probably denial. 207 or 206 was getting attacked. You know everybody heard it. Everybody was denying, what is that noise? And everybody just kind of sat around and waited for it. 211 got hit, and by then 207 figured out something's not right. When police arrive, it is very important we follow commands. Folks, show your hands. All right, I hear it a lot. Well, they were treating those kids at that school like criminals. We don't know who the shooter is. Every single person is a suspect. Everybody. If we show up to a school shooting, is the school shooter pretending to be back in line with the students? Has he already left the scene? We don't know. If we show up to this church, is the shooter pretending to be in the congregation? We don't know. So when we show up to the scene, do exactly what you're told. Don't argue. Don't fight back. I know it's going to be upsetting and emotional. Leave everything behind. Put your hands up in the air and walk where we tell you to walk. We'll figure out everybody. So if you are armed, then that would go directly to the fight. If I was armed in a scenario, I would immediately engage. Once the engagement is over and law enforcement has arrived, immediately discard. Discard it, get it away from you. Because again, I don't know when I get here who you are. There has been unfortunate incidences where people have intervened in an active shooter event and they were tragically killed by law enforcement. It is very sad. It happens. It happened in Alabama, where a soldier, an off-duty soldier, was at a mall, and a shooting occurred in the mall. He had a weapon. The off-duty soldier went to confront the shooter, got into a shooting with the shooter. Cops immediately come in. The kid turns. He's got a gun, and the cops shoot him and kill the good guy right there. Tragic. Happens just like that. But all they have to go on is mall, people, shooter, gun. See, that's what I have. So if that is a choice that is made, realize the danger of the choice, and immediately, as soon as I do what I need to do, step away, right? Next. What we're going to do. This is very difficult. It's so hard to hear the critic. I'm sorry we're going kind of long. I've only got a few more slides, and we'll get you out of here. It is very difficult to hear the criticism sometimes after these school shootings about the actions of law enforcement, but we're doing everything with a purpose. Yes, when we enter the school, when we enter the facility, when we enter the church, we are stepping over everybody. We are not there to render aid. I am there to stop somebody from continuing killing people. Once we stop that individual, then it's time to save lives. We hear it all the time. Well, they just walked in and they were stepping over kids and kids were screaming for help and this and that. Yes, they are. And you know how hard that is to do that, to turn that off in our brain? We have children too, but we're on a mission to stop more. So we are going to step over you. If you are tragically injured and you are still alive and you are pulling at my pant leg and saying, please help me, I'm probably going to shake you off to go do my mission. Once my mission is complete, then we will take care of what we can. Mission number 1 is to stop the killing. Mission number 2 is to stop the dying. Once those things occur, then we evacuate the injured. That's the priority right there. Next. Yes, Ed. Yes. Yep. There is a new, so when active shooter first got started, we didn't have this active rescue team, and it started to develop over the years as we've learned from incidences. Now we pair up firemen with law enforcement officers. The Cobb County Fire Department actually has tactical medics that are fully SWAT-trained firefighters, and they will still enter the scene even while shots are being engaged behind the initial contact team. So you won't be there for hours. You'll be there for a few minutes until I can say, hey, the sanctuary is clear. We're now in the back of the church. At that point, then they will start coming in the sanctuary while we're in the next building still doing work. Right? You're absolutely right. Thanks, Ed. You can skip this video, Ed, so we can move forward. Medical, we training for EMS delay. Guys, this was really big in Las Vegas. A lot of people were saved in Las Vegas because people were working on each other. People were throwing each other in the back of pickup trucks. They were driving people to the hospital. People were doing medical on each other in the parking lot. So many lives were saved in Vegas because everybody was helping each other out. If people need help, seek additional training. I think the next slide is my Stop the Bleed slide. Yes, Stop the Bleed, a great program. All right, what we found out in these active attack events, and Ed can back me up, is people die mostly from massive blood loss. This is where we lose people in these events. So many people can be saved if you're just trained on Stop the Bleed. Most of the time, it's a free program. Most places will offer it. You can go do it anywhere. Senior centers will do it. Right here, what I have on my belt, this is a tourniquet. I have one of these in every car. I have one in my kitchen. I have one when I go hunting, when I go fishing, because this one simple tool right here can save your life. Gunshots cause massive bleeding. Stopping the bleed saves the life. Tourniquets on arms, tourniquets on legs. All right, chest seals. All right, if someone's shot in the chest and it wasn't a heart shot, all right, so we're worried about the lungs, collapsed lungs, so we can do different things. You'll learn about all that if you take a good Stop the Bleed course. Personal issues, expect mental trauma, and develop a critical incident stress management plan. If something, God forbid, happens in this facility, your church elders and your pastors should be working together. What are we going to do to have a critical incident stress management plan? What are we going to do for these individuals? It is going to be traumatic. It's going to be traumatic for everybody, for the church, for the families, for the officers, for the firemen. What are we going to do as a community to prepare for the post-incident? Another big thing is we don't name them. I've never said the name of a shooter. We don't ever speak the shooter's name. They don't deserve it, right, at all. But what we do, go ahead and click it, is these are the people we celebrate. Does anybody know who she is? Go ahead and click it for me, Ed. This is Victoria Soto. Go ahead. She is a first grade teacher at Sandy Hook. All right, go ahead. For those that do not recognize this hero, this is Victoria Soto. She was a first grade teacher at Sandy Hook and a hero. On that day, the monster came into the school to murder as many kids as he could. She put herself between the monster and her kids. Her classroom is where some of the kids survived. She gave her life to protect those children at Sandy Hook. All right, next. This is Angela McQueen, physical education teacher and math teacher, Mattoon, Illinois. For those that do not recognize this hero, she is Angela McQueen. She's a PE and math teacher at Mattoon, Illinois, that when faced with a student shooter, she ran and attacked the shooter, taking him down and holding him until police arrived. So with that, that is the end of the PowerPoint presentation. I know we did, I don't know what my time was allotted, but I'm assuming I went over. I tried to go fast for y'all, but I would love to answer any questions that you guys may have. That's what I'm here for. Mm-hmm. Yes. Yes. So it is very important that the church. Correct. The church that I now go to out in Paulding County is a very large church. Some of y'all probably heard of Westridge. Very big church. But I grew up in a very small Baptist church, Elizabeth Baptist Church over Marietta. Actually, it was a church just like this. And even when I was a young man in that church, we had members of what Ed was saying. We had a security team. Have ushers or greeters that would preferably former law enforcement, some type of first responder, some type of military. I say that because they're already geared in their head. Fight, flight, or freeze won't really take over. They're naturally going to want to protect. So find those individuals that are natural protectors that want to help. And like at Westridge, we have those individuals. They do sit in specific areas of the church every service, every Sunday. We know who they are. They look like everybody else, but they're strategically positioned in the church to interact if they need to. Most of them do carry a firearm completely covered that you can't tell. I'm absolutely against visible firearms. That's a terrible idea, all right, because you're usually the first person that's going to get attacked. It's very important to have a security team. And I'm really glad to hear that Ed is starting one or has already started one here. Another thing you can do that's a real big deterrent is during services, all exterior doors need to be locked but a single point of entry. Good. Yeah, all doors should be locked but a single point of entry. That way nobody can come in a different door and you not know about it. And the door that's available to be opened, there should be somebody there the entire service as a greeter or an usher to interact with that person, however that interaction may be. Also, one thing we started doing at my old church and at my current church is we do have somebody that's even out in the parking lot. They just walk around, whether it be somebody breaking in cars or just to be seen. Because a lot of times these individuals, they're going to try to show up. And if they show up and they see there's people everywhere, there's somebody patrolling the parking lot, there's people at the doors, maybe that individual will be like, you know, this is not a good location. There's a lot of eyes. I'm going to go somewhere else. But if it looks easy, they're going to take advantage of it. So I'm a real big proponent for greeters at doors, parking lot patrol, just in pairs, just walking around. Just this is another thing that I brought this today to show you. We use these at work. You can get these on Amazon. They're just great little radios. Sometimes cell phones are just way too slow. Little radios, you can get little earpieces. That way you can quickly talk to each other in the parking lot. Somebody in the parking lot can say, hey, front door, we got a suspicious looking guy coming to the door, just letting you know he's about to come inside. Instead of trying to call him, say, who's this calling me? Hey, how's it going? And then he walks in the door on you. So I'm a real big proponent. Just being prepared. Little things like this, locking doors, having some type of communication. If you're not comfortable with people being armed, that's up to you. But just have enough people that can fight back if you don't have people armed. But I'm always a proponent about armed security. It's sad that we have to arm ourselves in church, but we do. I carry a gun every Sunday, and I'm not a part of our security team because when I'm off duty, I really just want to be off duty. But I bring one with me every Sunday. I tell my pastor, I'm like, Pastor Brian, I got you. Like, your team can do all their stuff. I'm coming for you, sir. He's like, I got you. Any other questions? No. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely, guys.
Thank you so much for taking time away from your family and coming. Originally, I was looking at, they do have some online courses, because we wanted to get you the training somehow, but obviously we hit a gold mine with Lieutenant Daniels coming in, and he's got a lot of background and just a lot of good stories, because that's how I learn is, you can tell me to do something, but if you give me an example of why I'm doing it, it just makes a lot more sense, and we forget a lot of the things that have happened. So let's just give him a round of applause and just appreciate his time. And then I got to, hold on. Just a little thank you. I appreciate you. I know. Hey.
I want to tell you guys, too, here, shameless plug. I'm going to give you a shameless plug. Has anybody heard of the Cobb County Sheriff's Office Citizen Police Academy that we do? There's one going on right now. They're fixing to graduate. Are you? Okay, awesome. I highly recommend it. We do one. Ackworth does one. Cobb Police Department does one. We do about 2 or 3 a year. Ours is about to graduate next week. If you don't follow the Sheriff's Office on social media, please do. I highly recommend y'all get in one of those classes. It is not physically demanding. People hear Citizens Police Academy and they think that they got to go do this a lot. You don't. It's a lot of this right here, just telling you what we do, what we're about. You get to spend a day with us in the training unit. You get to shoot our tasers and see all of our stuff, and some places let you drive their cars. It's a lot of fun to understand what we do. So please follow social media. We will have another one soon. I highly recommend them. Ours is the best. So just saying, ours is really good. Come hang out with us. It's like 6 or 7 weeks. It's on like a Thursday night. We feed you, and it's a great time. It's a great time.
Thank y'all very much for coming tonight.
Let me grab it. That's all right. I got to have the last word. You all, thank you for being here. It is very important to me that you are armed with the knowledge to at least learn how to handle a situation like that. Let's give Lieutenant Daniel another hand. Special thanks to Ed and Christine for their leadership. And we have with us friends from Shaw Temple. Shaw Temple, would you wave your hand? Bethany, let's thank them for being here. Again, thanks again for all that you have done. May I offer this parting blessing as we leave? God of grace and God of glory, we thank you for what you have done here today. May we never need what we've learned, but thank you for the preparation. Bless us as we leave this place. Give us traveling mercies in the sweet and rich name of Jesus the Christ. Amen. Thank you so much. God bless you.